What is up, YouTube? We are 11 days, 19 hours, 37 minutes, and 0 seconds away from the Delve League being dropped for us for the 3.4 PoE expansion. We are all excited for the league, and today we got some exciting news from Chris, who came in and as soon as he was in the offices today, he dropped this on us, the Crown of the Tyrant, the Magistrate Crown. So you can take a look. It's got an armor base and an energy shield base. It's got only one socket to it. If you're wondering why it's only got one socket, you'll see why in just a moment. It's got 95 to maximum life. We're not sure what the range is on that, but that's a decent amount of life. Nearby enemies have minus 10% to all resistances. Whoa, that seems pretty strong. Like, that's kind of like having elemental weakness just straight up around you without having to use a blasphemy aura. That's pretty cool. On top of that, though, you and nearby allies have 64 to 96 added flat fire damage per red socket. That added damage, the way how that's worded, that gets added to spells as well as attacks. It's just straight up, you get that added. Then we've got this elemental damage type per color of the socket. So you and nearby enemies have 56 to 88 added cold damage per green socket. You and nearby allies have 16 to 144 added lightning damage per blue socket. And you and nearby allies have 47 to 61 added chaos damage per white socket. So there's already a ton of discussion going around on this helmet. It's just been out for just a couple of hours. Those of us that have played Summoners for a while are looking at this helmet, and we're incredibly excited. There's a couple of reasons why we're incredibly excited. First off, if you just want to equip this helmet yourself and, say, sacrifice a bunch of sockets, you could do that. You and your specters, your zombies, your skeletons, your SRS, whatever it is that you plus whatever you're summoning, your animated weapons, there's going to be just a bunch of flat added damage to everything around you. If you're a support character and you wanted to give up sockets and say, hey, here's a bunch of extra damage coming off of something that isn't a mana or life reserving aura, you've got it built in simply with the Magistrate Crown. And depending on the color of the socket, you're going to simply be able to change for whatever your party's needs are. So let's say you're playing with somebody that is chaining ice explosions. Boom, you just change it to a green socket. Let's say you're partying up with somebody that is using Storm Burst or somebody that's using Arc. Boom, you just change it to a blue socket. Here's a bunch of added lightning damage, etc., etc. Now that's the one side of it, of why this is an exciting item, because it has potential simply to wear it for yourself and to give yourself plus your allies around you as the added bonus. That's pretty exciting, but the biggest reason why this is exciting, and I'm logged in here onto a standard character, and so those of you that are wondering why are you logged into a standard summoner, I'm going to show you here. This is my standard summoner that I have yet to tweak since taking down Shaper from 3.2 in Bestiary. So here's a Helm that I'm using on my summoner, and you're wondering, wait a minute, what's the big deal about this? Well, right now this is a typical Helm. It gives me +2 to level of socketed minion gems, and then of course I've got equipped in here an Empower support. So for my minion gems, which are minion life as well as Ray Zombie on here, my Ray Zombie is now at level 25, which is, it's decent. That's pretty good. It's not, you know, out of this world mirror worthy, but it's pretty good. And then you also see that this is my bone offering setup, so that's why I've got the lab enchantment on there, so that way all of my minions had additional block chance. But really, the reason where the Tyrant Crown comes in and really shines, I think, is going to be because of Animate Guardian. So when you consider Animate Guardian wears equipment on its own, okay, totally on its own. You can equip your Animate Guardian with a full set of equipment, and you see him running around here in the background. That's who this guy is. I'll scroll out a little bit. That's who this guy is that's running around furiously, that is wearing armor. That is not another friend in party. You can see he's spazzing out like my Tuca Helma's Vanguard, because he's got the crappy Spectre AI, but there he is. Right now you can see his helm. If he would stand still for just a minute, oh my goodness, he's not going to, but that's okay. He's wearing a Leer mask right now, which gives a bunch of additional bonus and damage. And then he's also got Diatuses that he's using to give just a bunch of aura damage to stuff that's around him. But instead of using a Leer mask, you could potentially now drop this Crown of the Tyrant and let your animated guardian wear this. Now, because it's limited in its sockets, it really doesn't matter that it's only got one socket if you're having your animated guardian wear this. And so if this works for animated guardian builds, we may actually see animated guardian builds come into the meta regardless if you're a summoner or not, simply because you're going to basically have a free aura bot running around with you with some additional essentially an additional buffing aura running next to you. It's also got life on it, which is fantastic. That's really what you want for your animated guardian. Animated guardian should almost never die, at least with this setup. You should almost never die. He's level 25. He's got added minion life on here, which is not even level 20, and I still never die. But eventually, whenever that hits level 22 is what it'll be. And then if you really want to go all out with your Empower, you can make it a level 4 and just dump a bunch of currency. Then it's, oh my goodness. Yeah. Anyway, so your animated guardian should not die. And then your animated guardian, depending on what build you're running, is just running around giving you essentially this buff. You plus whatever allies you're running with. And then you don't even need to run with a support because your animated guardian effectively is your support. So this is really buffing the whole concept of either solo play, but with kind of the animated guardian as your party bot, as your aura bot, as it were, your support. This really gives you an option to do that. And again, a lot of people are looking and saying, oh, but it's only got one socket. Why would I ever want to solo wear it? Well, because again, it's already got that built-in nearby enemies have -10 to all resistances. That is really, really, really strong. So if you don't want to run it on an animated guardian build, but you don't want to run blasphemy and run double curses, maybe you want to save your curses for a curse on hit setup, or you'd like to run blasphemy with another curse, maybe a defensive curse, especially if you're playing hardcore, then you'll run that on another setup and you're not having to sacrifice those sockets or anything else, the blasphemy, the curses, etc. You're not having to make any of those sacrifices if you just run it on the animated guardian as they're running alongside you. The sacrifices at that point that you have to make are the sacrifices to your own gear for linking up your animated guardian, but that's really not that bad when you consider the flat damage bonus from this Tyrant crown. Like, this is going to be potentially meta changing, depending on how prevalent this is. Again, we've already seen a couple of different items that have come out that have been focused for summoners. This to me is potentially focused on individual self-cast summoners and self-cast users, but the biggest potential that I see for this is on Animated Guardian, and it gives folks an excuse to just run Animated Guardian alongside them. I mean, you can run Animated Guardian, just Animated Guardian plus minion life, right? We're talking about a 2-link here, and you're just running around with this massive amount of flat damage that of course is then going to be buffed because it's a flat source of damage, so it's going to be buffed by all of your addeds and increased globally throughout the rest of your build. It's like when you have, again, an aura bot running alongside you and your DPS doubles or triples because they're adding a bunch of flat damage alongside you, running all of these other buffs that your character individually can't have. So Crown of the Tyrant, Magistrate Crown, is this something that you're going to use? Will you use it either as a self-caster and try and use it to buff yourself plus your friends? Or is this something that you're going to very smartly throw on your random animated guardian as you delve deeply into the mines? Leave us a comment down below. What do you think? Are you going to use this on your own, or are you going to use it on an animated guardian? I for sure, if I find one, if it's not that rare, if it's easy enough to acquire, I'm definitely going to throw it on an animated guardian. There's no reason not to just have a bunch of added flat damage as you are running around delving or mapping or just bossing throughout PoE. This is going to be awesome as an individual item, and I like where it's going as a direction of the game, just showing that there's awareness of some of these more unique and interesting setups that aren't just attack-based setups. Like, this is some really cool stuff, and it appears to be that this is going to be the League of the Summoner, and Crown of the Tyrant is just more confirmation of that. Leave us a comment down below. And as always, stay tuned for more PoE daily news as we count down the days to delve, because we are less than 2 weeks away. 11 days, 19 hours, 27 minutes, and 34 seconds.